Hello, my name is Ọbáfẹ Thanni. I am here with Servio Gbadamosi, and I'll be reading a few poems. Or, as Julia Roberts to say, a few of my favorite things. The first poem here is an advert for the good sponsors of this episode, Mountain Dew. It's titled Mountain Dew Commercial Disguised as a Love Poem by Matthew Alsman. So here's what I've got. The reasons why our marriage might work. Because you wear pink, but write poems about bullets and gravestones. Because you yell at your keys when you lose them and laugh loudly at your own jokes. Because you can hold a pistol, got a pig. Because you memorize songs, even commercials from 30 years back, and sing them when vacuuming. You have soft hands. Because when we moved, the contents of what you packed were written inside the boxes. Because you think swans are overrated and kind of stupid. Because you drove me to the train station. You drove me to Minneapolis. You drove me to Providence. Because you underline everything you read and circle the things you think are important, and put stars next to the things you think I should think are important, and write notes in the margins about all the people you are mad at, and my name almost never appears there. Because you made that pork recipe you found in the Frida Kahlo cookbook. Because when you read that essay about Rauka, you underlined the whole thing, except the parts where Rauka says love means to deny the self and to be consumed in flames. Because when the lights are off, the curtains drawn, and an additional sheet is nailed over the windows, you still believe someone outside can see you. And one day, 5 summers ago, when you couldn't put gas in your car, when your fridge was so empty, not even leftovers or condiments, there was a single 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew, which you paid for with your last damn dime, because you once overheard me say that I liked it. I love this poem for its practicality. And I say practicality because it's a love poem, and love poems are very difficult to do well because we try to transcend the dailiness and the mundane of what constitutes relationship, or relationships of different kinds. So it's practical because this is a poem that you could very well easily replace with, these are the reasons I think our friendship would work, or these are the reasons I think our siblinghood or our family would work. There are reasons listed because it relies very heavily on the bell hook sense of love, in that there's a very verbal movement throughout the poem. You are doing things and things are happening. It's a very active poem. It's also a poem that is self-aware. Even the title, Mountain Dew Commercial Disguised as a Love Poem, is aware of its own disguise, and that very awareness causes the disguise to fall away. So it could very well be a love poem disguised as a Mountain Dew commercial. And I also like the practicality of the persona referring to his lover or love interest, or the person to whom this poem is directed, and saying, you underlined everything in that essay about Rauka, except the part where he says, love means to deny the self and to be consumed in flames. So there's a very, we're on earth, things are mundane, but we do these things for each other, and we are each other's responsibility, and we preserve each other. So yeah, I love that about that poem. Second favorite thing is titled The Second Contemplation by Mamilari Jacob, a poet whose work I love very much. The Second Contemplation. I do not think I will be great. This humbles me. The idea that my life is destined to bear always the scent of dust. The assurance, I suspect, is rooted in desire, a deep-seated aversion to spotlights, a multiplying distaste festering within. Better to say then, I do not want to be great, merely heard. Not that obscurity gladdens me, rather, it seeks possession of my body the way fingers lay claim to gloves. I doubt you would want this too, to be the nail in furniture, unseen, though necessary. You have always considered yourself loaded with a radiant future, a tomorrow with enough decibels to engulf the world. Said once of Peter, from his body were brought unto the sick handkerchiefs or aprons, and the diseases departed from them. You, origin of everything beautiful. In our story, I am each handkerchief racing from all corners of Israel to reach you. Where to begin? This poem has a lot of craft elements that I love so much I once wrote an essay about it, but to keep it short, the strength of the metaphors and how well they are extended here are just a thing of beauty. Not that obscurity gladdens me, rather it seeks possession of my body the way fingers lay claim to gloves. There's an unavoidability there that really reigns in the concept of possession. And to be the nail in furniture, such a precise metaphor. It's a very precise poem, but beneath all of that, this is also, to an extent, a love poem disguising as something else. It is contemplative, it is sober, it contemplates greatness, which is something artists often think about, and legacy and what your life is destined to be. But it's also very settled, sober in that reflection. So I enjoyed that very much. Third poem. This poem is titled Social Skills Training by Solmaz Sharif. Studies suggest, "How may I help you, officer?" is the single most disarming thing to say, and not, "What's the problem?" Studies suggest it's best the help reply, "My pleasure," and not, "No problem." Studies suggest it's best not to mention problem in front of power, even to say there is none. Gloria Steinem says women lose power as they age, and yet the loudest voice in my head is my mother. Studies show the mother we have in mind isn't the mother that exists. Mine says, "What the are you crying for?" Studies show the baby monkey will pick the fake monkey with fake fur over the furless wire monkey with milk without contest. Studies show to negate something is to think it anyway. I'm not sad. Studies recommend regular expressions of gratitude and internal check-ins. Enough, the wire mother says. History is a kind of study. History says we forgave the executioner. Before we mopped the blood, we asked, "Lord Judge, have I executed well?" Studies suggest, yes. What are you crying for, officer? The wire mother teaches me to say. While studies suggest, so Mars, have you thanked your executioner today? There's very little else to say about that, but Solmaz Sharif is a poet that is very good at extrapolating compromise. So this poem is titled Social Skills Training, and there is an underlying understanding that for you to function well within societies, especially when the element of empire comes into play, which I think is the lens that the persona is speaking from here, there are daily compromises. But it's not so much to say that the compromises will no longer be made. It is more a question of awareness that those compromises are being made. So when you say, "How may I help you?" instead of "What's the problem?" the awareness that you are placating possibly someone's view of you or someone's ego, or trying to massage power before you interact with it, that awareness is very useful. And I also like the parallel that she draws here between the baby monkey and, fur fake monkey, the furred fake monkey, and the wired monkey, who actually can provide nutrition, which is to suggest that we, the primates in the poem, and then we by extension, would always pick comfort and warmth over even nutrition, which we need and is essential to our being. Yeah. I love that poem. Also, yeah, this is the last poem that I will be reading. This is a great collection of poetry. My mom once saw me reading it, and because she was looking at me from a distance, she thought for some reason that this book was titled Awero. It's very, very Yoruba mother misread there. So this poem is titled October by Louis Gluck. It's in 6 parts, but I will just read my favorite fragments, which is something I enjoy about the poem. This time I'll say what I like before reading the poem. It's very contemplative, very precise, similar to what Amir was doing, Honorary Jacob, but in a different way. It's rooted in nature. The metaphors are very precise. The repetition is very deft. And that's why fragmentation and splitting it into parts also works so effectively. I mean, she's one of the great poets, so I go without saying. October by Louis. I no longer care what sound it makes. When was I silenced? When did it first seem pointless to describe that sound? What it sounds like, what it is. Come to me, said the world. I was standing in my wool coat at a kind of bright portal. I can finally say, long ago, it gives me considerable pleasure. Beauty, the healer, the teacher. Death cannot harm me more than you have harmed me, my beloved life. This is the light of autumn, not the light of spring. The light of autumn, you will not be spared. The songs have changed. The unspeakable has entered them. So much has changed, and still you are fortunate. The ideal burns in you like a fever, or not like a fever, like a second heart. And yet the notes recur. They hover oddly in anticipation of silence. The ear gets used to them. The eye gets used to disappearances. You will not be spared, nor will what you love be spared. How privileged you are to be still passionately clinging to what you love. The forfeit of hope has not destroyed you. This is the light of autumn. It has turned on us. Surely it is a privilege to approach the end, still believing in something. Thank you.